Fields, monuments and cannons. Is Gettysburg worth a day trip from Washington, D.C.?
Bullet marks to see are on the Farnsworth house on our left behind the red umbrellas. You can see white bullet marks all over the side of the brick facing us. Because the owner paints them white so we can see them from the bus. This is really where the battle starts. The Union cavalry scouts get wind that the Confederate Army is moving this way. They're going to give that early warning to the rest of the army coming up.
So that's the tour done, the official tour on one of them, and it was really good. The guides were excellent, and you get a real feel for the geography of the area and where the Confederate Army was and where the Union Army was and where the battle took place from the 1st of July to the 4th of July. And this is not a criticism, the only thing is because there's so many and there's quite a distance to cover, we only got off a couple of times as groups to have a look around. So now I want to have a little look back and go and have a little individual look, and I'll film some of this for you. Little bits of the site that we weren't able to stop on as a group, but now I can go back and have a little look. But really, I'm only here for a couple of hours at Gettysburg. I think the truth is, if you want to really understand what happened here all those years ago during the American Civil War, you probably need to earmark a little bit more time. But I certainly feel by coming here on the 4th of July, when the battle finished all those years ago, I have a feel for the geography of the area. So come back out of Gettysburg to the Virginia Memorial. That was Robert E. Lee at the top of the statue, and this would have been his view looking across the fields at the Union lines. And it's in this area that he would have seen Pickett's charge going up towards those Union lines. It would have taken them maybe as long as 20 minutes to get towards them, maybe a little bit more, and they couldn't fire their shots until they got to the ridge where you can just see the cars if you look very carefully in the distance. The cars that are still are where the Union lines were, the cars just below and moving are where they were trying to get to. We're up on Cemetery Ridge, where the Union soldiers were for Pickett's charge. If you have a little look, we'll turn the camera around. And that's the direction from where the soldiers came, the Confederate soldiers. That little gap you saw right before the end, that was where Robert E. Lee was. And they got up to the road, which you can see a lot clearer here than you can if I turn the camera around now. You can see a car moving. And that's where a lot of the Confederate soldiers reached. Some made a breakthrough, but were repulsed. But this was where the Union forces were, and those Confederate forces came up close towards the end of the Battle of Gettysburg. So yes, this is the end of the tour. Look, it's really only a very brief amount of information from me. If you want to know lots more, well, number one, come here, spend a couple of days here. It's well worth it. The guides were brilliant. I can't recommend them highly enough if you want to have a time here and try and understand. I always feel if you come to a battlefield, I've been to the Somme, been to Ypres, France and Belgium. If you come to places like this, you actually really get a feel for it. I'm sure like many of you read books, looked at images, looked at paintings, but until you come and see the geography and see how the land lies, and to be honest, feel the temperature today around the same time of year as when the battle was fought. So yes, that's it from Gettysburg for this video. Next time we'll be a bit further south of Washington DC, continuing my journey in the USA.